Captain Zarevek stood on the bridge of the Harmony of Stars. His 4 eyes narrowed at the viewing screen. The diplomatic vessel glided smoothly through the neutral territory of the Orion sector, where no major species claimed dominance. "Captain, sensors are picking up an unknown vessel at coordinates 227 to 598, reported First Officer Mechtel, her blue scales shimmering under the soft lights of the bridge. "Show me," Zarevek ordered. The screen shifted to display a sleek, dark ship unlike any design Zarevek had encountered in his 200 cycles of space travel. Its hull was angular with minimal exterior features, but the sensor readings indicated multiple weapon ports and defensive systems. "Scan it," he commanded, "and open a communication channel." The sensor operator worked quickly. "Captain, the ship appears to be fully armed." Energy readings suggest advanced weaponry and shielding systems. "The design doesn't match any known species in our database." Zarevek's secondary hearts began to beat faster. An unknown armed vessel in neutral space was rarely good news. "Any response to our hails?" Communications Officer Velna shook her head. "None, Captain. I've tried all standard frequencies and protocols." "Keep trying. Let's approach cautiously. Maintain distance at 20 light units." The bridge fell silent as the Harmony of Stars adjusted course. Zarevek had spent decades in diplomatic service, representing the Galactic Council in countless first contact scenarios. But something about this situation felt different. Intelligence Officer Teclara suddenly gasped from her station. "Captain, I've been running pattern recognition on the ship's energy signature. There's a 93% match to. This can't be right." "What is it, officer?" Zarevek moved to her console. "The energy pattern matches technology derived from Earth, sir. This appears to be a human vessel." A wave of disbelief swept through the bridge. Humans were a primitive species, barely able to reach their own moon the last time the Council checked. They weren't even members of the galactic community. "Impossible," Mechtel stated flatly. "Humans don't possess interstellar technology." Teclara displayed her findings on the main screen. "The quantum signature is unmistakable, sir. And look at these markings on the hull." The screen zoomed in on a section of the ship where faint symbols were visible. Zarevek recognized the human writing system, though he couldn't read it. "How could this happen?" Zarevek whispered, more to himself than his crew. "The Council's last assessment placed humans at least 2 centuries away from developing interstellar travel." "Sir," said Velna, "I'm detecting communication signals from the ship, but they're encrypted in an unknown format." "They're watching us," Zarevek realized. Tactical analysis. The tactical officer looked up from his station. "Their weapon systems appear dormant but ready. Their shields are active at minimum power. They're positioned to escape quickly if needed." Zarevek considered his options. This discovery would shake the foundations of galactic politics. Humans weren't supposed to be here, weren't supposed to have this technology, and certainly weren't supposed to be heavily armed. "Sir," Teclara said quietly, "there's something else you should know. The Council database shows no record of authorized technology sharing with humans." The implication was clear. Either humans had made an impossible leap forward, or someone had broken the Council's strict laws about interfering with developing species. "Send an encrypted message to Council headquarters," Zarevek ordered. "Priority Alpha. Then prepare a first contact protocol. If this is truly a human ship, we need to understand how they got here and what their intentions are." As the crew hurried to comply, Zarevek stared at the mysterious vessel. After centuries of galactic peace maintained by the Council, the sudden appearance of an unknown human warship threatened to upset the delicate balance of power. And he had a sinking feeling that this was just the beginning. Aboard the U.S. Valiant, Captain John Blackwell paced the command deck, his footsteps echoing softly against the metal floor. The bridge crew worked in focused silence, each monitoring their stations with the precision that had become second nature after months in deep space. "They're scanning us again," Lieutenant Frank Miller announced from the tactical station. "More detailed this time." Blackwell nodded. Let them look. Maintain silent running protocols. He moved to the large viewport and gazed at the alien vessel in the distance. The Valiant's first encounter with extraterrestrial life was going exactly as they had planned. Cautious observation from both sides. "Do you think they know who we are?" asked Lieutenant Amy Peterson, the ship's navigation officer. "They will soon enough," Blackwell replied. His mind drifted back to the events that had brought them here, nearly 15 light-years from Earth. It had started 3 years ago with a discovery at a remote research station in Antarctica. Scientists drilling deep ice cores had found something impossible: a small metallic probe of clearly artificial origin, buried in ice over 50,000 years old. The discovery was kept secret from the public as the world's top scientists analyzed the device. Lisa Winters had been one of those scientists, a brilliant engineer with a gift for understanding complex systems. She had been the first to recognize that the probe contained surveillance technology. Earth had been watched, perhaps for millennia. Within months, Winters made her breakthrough. By reverse engineering components of the alien device, she developed the theoretical framework for what would eventually become the Phantom Drive, humanity's first faster-than-light propulsion system. "Sir," called Communications Officer Richard Clark, interrupting Blackwell's thoughts, "I'm detecting attempts to communicate from the alien vessel. Multiple frequencies and encoding methods. Continue to observe but maintain communication blackout," Blackwell ordered. "Remember our mission parameters." The mission was clear: reconnaissance only. Earth's leadership had decided that humanity's first steps into the galactic community would be cautious ones. The Valiant was built in secret, using asteroid mining facilities in the outer solar system to hide the construction from any possible observation. Only 5 people on Earth knew about the ship's existence when it launched 6 months ago. Blackwell moved to the science station, where Chief Science Officer Paul Warren was analyzing data on the alien ship. "What have we learned?" Blackwell asked. Warren pointed to his screen. "Their technology is advanced, but not incomprehensibly so. From what I can tell, there's some kind of diplomatic vessel. Minimal weapons, strong shields, excellent sensors. The markings match some of the symbols found on the probe." "So we've found one of our watchers," Blackwell said quietly. "Possibly," Warren replied, "though they seem surprised by us." Engineer Susan Cooper entered the bridge, her uniform showing smudges of lubricant from the engine room. "Captain, the Phantom Drive is ready for emergency jump if needed, but I recommend against it unless absolutely necessary. The cooling systems are still equalizing after our last jump." Blackwell thanked her with a nod. The Phantom Drive was revolutionary, but still experimental. Each jump strained the ship's systems to their limits. "Sir," Miller called out with new urgency, "they're moving closer. Still outside weapons range, but definitely approaching." Blackwell returned to his command chair and sat down, his decision made. Full power to shields. Bring weapons to standby, but keep them powered down. Let's see what they want. As the alien ship grew larger on their viewport, the crew of the Valiant prepared for humanity's first official contact with alien life. They carried with them not just the hopes of Earth, but also its determination to be recognized as equals in a universe they now knew was far from empty. The neutral station crossing point hung in space like a delicate snowflake, its white metal arms extending from a central hub. Inside Meeting Room 7, Captain Zarvek waited nervously, his 4-fingered hands clasped behind his back. When the doors slid open, Captain Blackwell entered with 2 officers, Political Officer Grace Hammond and Security Chief Alan Wright. The humans walked with confidence that surprised Zarvek. For a species making their first official contact, they showed remarkable composure. "Captain Zarvek," Blackwell said with a slight nod, "thank you for agreeing to this meeting." Zarvek returned the gesture. "The pleasure is mine, Captain Blackwell. Though I must admit, your ship's appearance has caused quite a stir among Galactic Council members." The 2 captains sat at opposite sides of the oval table. Hammond took a seat beside Blackwell while Wright remained standing near the door, his hand resting casually near his sidearm. "We expected as much," Blackwell replied. "Earth has been kept in the dark for too long. We decided it was time to step into the light." Zarvek's translator captured the idiom perfectly, making his secondary hearts flutter with concern. "I'm not sure what you mean by kept in the dark. The Council's policy regarding developing worlds is non-interference until they achieve independent interstellar travel." Grace Hammond smiled thinly. "Is that so? Then perhaps you can explain these." She placed a small device on the table that projected a series of images: strange ships hovering over Earth's oceans, unfamiliar craft extracting minerals from remote mountains, and beings that were clearly not human examining agricultural sites. "These were captured over the past 5 years by our planetary defense systems," Hammond explained. "Your policy of non-interference seems rather flexible." Zarvek's scales paled as he examined the images. "This is unauthorized activity. The Council strictly forbids resource extraction from developing worlds." "Yet it happens," Blackwell said firmly. "We've documented over 200 such incursions. It seems some members of your galactic community have been treating Earth as their private resource depot." Zarvek's inner eyelids blinked rapidly in distress. "I assure you, Captain, if what you're showing me is authentic, this represents serious violations of Council law." Hammond leaned forward. "Let's be clear, Captain Zarvek. We're not here to join your Council as supplicants. We're here to establish that Earth is protected territory, and these violations will stop immediately." The tension in the room grew thick. Zarvek had expected many things from this meeting: confusion, wonder, perhaps even fear from the humans. Instead, he faced calculated diplomacy backed by evidence and an implicit threat from the heavily armed human warship waiting outside. "There are procedures for addressing such grievances," Zarvek said carefully. "I can arrange for you to present this evidence to the Council directly." "And in the meantime?" Blackwell asked. "I will issue a formal warning about unauthorized activities in your system," Zarvek promised. "But I must ask, how did humans advance so quickly? Our last survey indicated you were centuries from achieving interstellar flight." Hammond and Blackwell exchanged glances before Blackwell answered. "Let's just say necessity drove innovation. When we found evidence we were being watched and exploited, Earth's nations united with a common purpose. The technology you see is entirely our own, developed from first principles after we understood what was possible." This wasn't entirely true, but Zarvek didn't need to know about the Antarctic probe. "I see," Zarvek said softly. "Then you've accomplished something truly remarkable." As the meeting continued, ship captains across 3 sectors received urgent messages about the human warship. Council representatives hurried to emergency sessions, and deep in the shadows of galactic politics, those who had profited from Earth's resources began plotting how to contain this unexpected threat. On Crossing Point, 2 captains from vastly different worlds continued their careful dance of diplomacy, each aware that the wrong word could spark a conflict neither wanted. For humanity had arrived on the galactic stage not as visitors, but as equals, armed, informed, and unwilling to be ignored. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Federation buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from 57 spacefaring species filled the vast, circular room. Hovering platforms carried delegates to their assigned sectors, while translators worked frantically to keep up with the dozens of languages being spoken. At the center podium, High Counselor Drestal raised all 6 of his limbs for silence. The chamber gradually quieted. "This emergency session will now begin," Drestal announced, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We face an unprecedented situation. A fully armed human warship has been discovered in neutral space." Murmurs swept through the crowd. On a display screen above, images of the U.S. Valiant appeared. Humans were classified as a Stage 2 species, limited to their own solar system. Drestal continued. "Yet they now possess technology matching our most advanced vessels." Ambassador Kolvor of the Trelgian Empire rose from his seat. "This is outrageous. Humans are barely more than primitives. Someone must have given them this technology. There is no evidence of that, replied Zarvek, who stood at a smaller podium. After meeting with Captain Blackwell, I believe humans developed this technology independently. Impossible, shouted another delegate. Kevin Miller, recently appointed as Earth's first representative to the Federation, stepped forward. Though nervous, his voice remained steady. What's impossible is the number of unauthorized extractions from our planet, Miller said, activating his own display that showed the same images Hammond had presented. These operations violated your own laws. Earth wasn't advancing in isolation. We were responding to threats. The chamber erupted in denials and accusations. Drestal called for order repeatedly. In a private chamber adjacent to the council room, 3 figures watched the proceedings with growing concern. This is worse than we thought, said Vorlak, leader of the secret alliance known as the Harvesters. His reptilian face showed no emotion, but his tail twitched with agitation. If the humans present all their evidence, many of our operations will be exposed. His associate, a tall being with metallic skin, nodded. The Earth resources have been too valuable to lose. Their rare minerals have funded our expansion for centuries. Then we must act quickly, said the third figure, hidden in shadows. The human ship must be destroyed, along with all evidence. Back in the council chamber, the debate grew heated. We demand immediate sanctions against Earth, shouted Ambassador Colfor. Their warship threatens the peace we've maintained for millennia. Kevin Miller stood his ground. Earth threatens no one who doesn't threaten us first. We seek only to protect our planet from those who have been stealing from us. Aboard the U.S. Valiant, Communications Officer Samantha Reed suddenly straightened in her chair. Captain, I'm detecting unusual transmission patterns, she reported. They're heavily encrypted, but portions match frequencies used by ships we observed extracting resources from Earth. Captain Blackwell frowned. Can you trace them? Working on it, sir. Reed's fingers flew across her console. Sir, 3 ships have just powered up near the station's maintenance docks. They're not registered with station control. Tactical Officer Daniel Morris looked up from his station. Captain, they're positioning for an attack run. Energy readings indicate weapons charging. Battle stations. Blackwell ordered. Power up shields and weapons. Navigation. Prepare for emergency departure. Alarms blared throughout the Valiant as the crew rushed to their positions. Sir, Reed called out, I've partially decoded their transmissions. They're calling themselves the Harvesters. They're planning to destroy us and all evidence of their activities on Earth. The first energy blast struck just as the Valiant's shields came online. The ship shuddered but held firm. Return fire. Targeting engines only, Blackwell commanded. And send everything we've recorded to Ambassador Miller. The Council needs to see who's really threatening peace in this region. The Valiant's weapons fired with precision, disabling one attacker while the other 2 broke formation. As the human warship moved to escape the ambush, representatives in the Council chamber watched in shock as the attack played out on their screens. Earth's first diplomatic crisis had just become a battle for survival. The U.S. Valiant surged through the darkness of space, its engines straining at maximum output. Behind it, 3 Harvester pursuit ships followed like hungry wolves chasing prey. The bridge crew worked with focused intensity, the calm of their training barely containing their fear. Status report, Captain Blackwell demanded, gripping his command chair as the ship shuddered from a near miss. Shields at 63%. Tactical Officer Daniel Morris replied. The Phantom drive needs another 17 minutes to cool down before we can jump again. Blackwell nodded grimly. They needed to survive those 17 minutes first. Sir, Navigation Officer Amy Peterson called out, I recommend course change to heading 227 Mark 45. The Cygnus asteroid field could give us cover. Do it, Blackwell ordered. The massive warship banked sharply, its hull groaning under the stress. 2 pursuing ships followed, while the third attempted to cut them off. "They're trying to hurt us," Morris observed. "Classic pincer maneuver." Blackwell leaned forward. "Then let's show them something they've never seen. Lieutenant Morris, target lead ship with pulse cannons, minimum power. Engineer Cooper, prepare for a reverse thrust on my mark." The crew exchanged confused glances, but moved to comply. "Fire," Blackwell commanded. The pulse cannons released a deliberately weak burst that flashed against the lead harvester ship's shields without doing damage. "Now, reverse thrust, full power." The Valiant suddenly slowed dramatically. The pursuing ships, unprepared for the maneuver, shot past them. The lead harvester ship, expecting continued fire, had raised its forward shields, leaving its rear vulnerable. "Fire main cannons, maximum power," Blackwell shouted. The Valiant's main weapons released devastating energy that tore through the harvester ship's engines. The vessel spun out of control, its propulsion system crippled. "One down," Morris announced with satisfaction. In the medical bay, Dr. Olivia Grant worked frantically to treat wounded crew members. The ship rocked from another hit, nearly throwing her into a cabinet of supplies. "Hold still," she instructed a young engineer with a burned arm. "The dermal regenerator needs 10 more seconds." The injured man grimaced. "How bad is it up there, Doc?" Dr. Grant maintained her professional composure. "Captain Blackwell has everything under control, just like he did at the Battle of Neptune." The mention of that classified Earth defense operation wasn't strictly necessary, but it calmed the man visibly. Sometimes hope was the best medicine. Back on the bridge, Communications Officer Reed made a startling discovery. "Captain, I've detected unusual transmissions coming from the Jupiter sector. It matches the harvester encryption patterns." "Show me," Blackwell ordered. Reed transferred the data to the main screen. Complex signal patterns revealed an extensive communication network. "There's a hidden base," Reed explained. "These signals indicate a major operation. Based on the transmission strength and frequency distribution, I'd estimate at least 20 ships and a permanent installation." The revelation stunned everyone on the bridge. The harvesters hadn't just been making occasional visits to Earth. They had established a permanent presence in humanity's home system. "They've been right next door all this time," Peterson whispered. Another hit rocked the ship. The remaining pursuers weren't giving up. "Phantom drive status?" Blackwell asked. 11 minutes to optimal capacity," replied Cooper's voice over the comm. "We could try a short jump now, but I can't guarantee where we'd end up." Blackwell considered their options. The Valiant couldn't defeat 2 more harvester ships in their current condition, and they couldn't outrun them conventionally. "We need reinforcements," he decided. "Reed, prepare a quantum burst transmission to Earth. Send everything we've learned about the harvesters, especially the Jupiter base. Authorization code Phoenix." Reed's eyes widened. Phoenix was the emergency code that would activate Earth's hidden defense fleet. "Sending now, sir," she confirmed, fingers flying across her console. As the message streaked toward Earth faster than light, the Valiant performed a desperate evasive maneuver through the asteroid field. Unknown to the humans, another ship had entered the area, the diplomatic vessel Harmony of Stars, with Captain Zarvek making a decision that would change his career forever. "Captain Blackwell." Zarvek's voice came through the communication system. "This is Captain Zarvek. It appears you could use some assistance." The battle unfolded across the starfield like a deadly dance. The U.S. Valiant, now joined by Zarvek's diplomatic vessel Harmony of Stars, engaged the harvester ships with coordinated attacks. Though not designed for combat, the Harmony provided crucial shield support as Valiant's weapon systems fired with precision. "Target their port engine arrays," Blackwell commanded. "Their shield modulation is weakest there." Morris executed the order perfectly. Valiant's main cannon struck the larger harvester ship, causing a cascade of explosions along its hull. "Direct hit, sir," Morris reported. "Their engines are failing." On the Harmony's bridge, Captain Zarvek watched with growing respect for human battle tactics. His decision to aid the humans had been impulsive, a violation of Council neutrality protocols. But seeing the Harvester's illegal aggression had convinced him it was the right choice. Captain Blackwell, Zarvek communicated. Our sensors detect 3 more Harvester vessels approaching from Sector 7. Understood, Blackwell replied. We appreciate your assistance, Captain. You're taking a significant risk helping us. The Harvesters have violated too many laws for too long, Zarvek stated simply. Sometimes justice requires action, not debate. The Valiant shuddered as a direct hit penetrated its weakening shields. Damage reports flooded in from all sections of the ship. Engineering to bridge, Cooper's voice crackled through the comm. That last hit damaged our primary power coupling. Phantom drive is offline until repairs can be made. Blackwell's face remained calm despite the dire news. Estimated repair time. At least 30 minutes, Captain. And that's if nothing else breaks in the meantime. The situation looked increasingly desperate when Valiant's long-range sensors detected something unexpected. Captain, Reed called out. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel at coordinates 330 Mark 47. The main screen showed a remarkable sight. 7 sleek warships appearing in perfect formation, each bearing Earth's insignia. The lead ship was the U.S. Defiant, commanded by Captain Beth Wilson. This is Captain Wilson to U.S. Valiant, came the transmission. Looks like you could use some backup, John. Relief washed over Blackwell's face. Your timing is impeccable, Beth. Earth's reserve fleet had arrived, revealing the secret that humanity had been building not just one ship, but an entire defense force. The Harvester vessels, now outnumbered, began retreat maneuvers. The victory was short-lived. From the disabled lead Harvester ship, a massive energy signature suddenly appeared. Sir, Morris warned, they're charging some kind of weapon. Energy readings are off the charts. On the enemy vessel's bridge, Commander Xultar, bleeding from a head wound, dragged himself to the weapons console. If we fall, they'd fall with us, he growled to his few surviving crew members. Activate the planet killer. Target, Earth. Back on the Valiant, Reed's console flashed urgent warnings. Captain, they've launched some kind of missile. Tracking shows it's heading directly for Earth, and it's accelerating to faster-than-light speeds. Intercept course, Blackwell ordered. We can't catch it, sir, Peterson replied. With our Phantom drive offline, we don't have the speed. Chief Engineer Cooper rushed onto the bridge, her uniform stained with coolant fluid. Captain, I have an idea. We can't stop that missile conventionally, but we might be able to redirect it. I'm listening, Blackwell said. If we reconfigure our shield emitters to project a gravitational lens ahead of the missile's path, we could bend its trajectory toward the sun. The sun's gravity will do the rest. The modifications would require someone to manually adjust the emitter array from outside the ship. Cooper continued. It's extremely dangerous, but it might be our only chance. Second Officer Eric Martinez stood up from his station. I'll do it, Captain. Blackwell locked eyes with the young officer. You understand the risks. Martinez nodded. For Earth, sir. As Martinez prepared for the spacewalk that might cost his life, the combined fleet moved to support the Valiant's desperate plan. Captain Zarvek offered his ship's additional power systems to strengthen the gravitational lens. The Harmony wasn't built for this, he admitted, but we'll give you everything we've got. With time running out, Martinez stepped into the airlock, carrying the modified emitter components. His breathing sounded loud in his helmet as he prepared to face the vacuum of space and save his homeworld from destruction. The memorial garden on Earth's new orbital station, Unity, bloomed with flowers from 100 worlds. Sunlight filtered through the transparent dome, casting gentle shadows across the gathered crowd. Military personnel in dress uniforms stood alongside civilians and alien dignitaries, all united in remembrance. Captain John Blackwell stepped forward to the simple stone monument. Its surface displayed the names of those lost in what historians now call the Harvester conflict. He placed his hand on the cool stone, pausing at one name in particular, Eric Martinez. Martinez had succeeded in his dangerous mission, redirecting the planet-killer weapon into the sun. The gravitational lens worked perfectly, but a power surge in the final moments had overloaded his suit systems. He'd saved billions of lives at the cost of his own. "We gather today not only to remember those we lost," Blackwell said to the assembly, "but to celebrate what they helped create, a new era for humanity and for the galaxy." In the front row, Captain Zarvek listened with all four eyes focused intently. The past 3 months had transformed his understanding of humans. What had begun as a shocking discovery of an unknown warship had evolved into the most significant diplomatic shift in centuries. After the battle, evidence of the Harvester's illegal operations had been presented to the Galactic Council. The scope of their activities, not just on Earth, but on dozens of developing worlds, had shocked even the most cynical council members. The resulting reforms had been swift and far-reaching. Ambassador Kevin Miller approached the podium after Blackwell finished speaking. "Today marks the formal acceptance of Earth into the Galactic Council," Miller announced, "with special protected status and reparations for resources taken without consent." Applause spread through the crowd. Among those clapping was Lisa Winters, the engineer whose work on the Phantom Drive had made everything possible. Beside her stood Paul Warren, the science officer who had helped decode the Harvester communications. Additionally, Miller continued, "The Council has approved our proposal for a joint scientific and exploration program. Human innovation combined with galactic experience will push the boundaries of our shared knowledge." Behind the Memorial Gardens dome, a massive construction project neared completion. The outline of a new vessel took shape, larger than the Valiant, with design elements from both human and alien engineering traditions. After the ceremony, Blackwell and Zarvek walked through the station's observation deck, gazing at the stars. "If you had told me 4 months ago that I'd be standing on a human space station discussing joint fleet operations, I would have thought you were suffering oxygen deprivation," Zarvek said with the trilling sound that humans had learned was his species' laughter. Blackwell smiled. "Sometimes the best relationships start with misunderstandings, or with someone pointing weapons at you," Zarvek added wryly. "We were prepared for the worst," Blackwell admitted. "After finding evidence of alien harvesting operations, Earth's nations united with a single purpose: to protect our world at any cost. Yet when the moment came, you chose to disable rather than destroy your attackers," Zarvek observed. "That speaks to the character of your species." They paused at a viewport that showed Earth below, beautiful and blue. "The Council scientists are still puzzled by how quickly you advanced," Zarvek said. "Some believe you must have had help." Blackwell's expression remained neutral. The Antarctic probe remained Earth's most closely guarded secret. "Let's just say necessity drives innovation." A young officer approached them. "Captains, they're ready for you in the launching bay." The two walked together to where the new ship waited. The Explorer, first of the joint human-alien fleet. Its sleek hull combined the practical design of human warships with the elegant efficiency of Council vessels. As crew members from a dozen worlds boarded for its maiden voyage, Blackwell felt a profound sense of transition. Humanity had entered the galactic stage as warriors, ready to defend their home. But they would continue as explorers, partnering with those who had once watched them from afar. The Explorer's engines hummed to life, its lights illuminating the launching bay. Above its main entry hatch, a simple motto had been inscribed in multiple languages: "Together we journey further." The unknown warship that had caused such alarm was now just the first chapter in a much longer story. 5 years after the Harvester conflict, the galaxy had transformed in ways few could have imagined. The Explorer, once the pride of the new joint fleet, was now just one of dozens of similar vessels patrolling the stars. But deep in unexplored space, beyond the established routes, the Explorer continued its primary mission of discovery. On its bridge, Captain John Blackwell studied the strange readings on the main display. The ship had detected an unusual energy signature emanating from an uncharted planet in what humans call the Epsilon sector. Any change in the signal pattern? He asked Science Officer Natalie Rogers, who had replaced Paul Warren after he accepted a teaching position at Earth's new interstellar academy. None, sir, Rogers replied. It remains constant and doesn't match any known technology, human or council. Beside Blackwell stood Zarvek, no longer a ship captain, but now serving as the Galactic Council's special envoy to joint missions. Their friendship had deepened over the years, surviving political pressures from both sides. Your thoughts? Blackwell asked his alien friend. Zarvek's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep thought. The pattern resembles ancient progenitor technology. There are legends of their outposts in this region, but nothing confirmed. The progenitors were the galaxy's greatest mystery, an ancient species believed to have seeded the stars with life before vanishing millions of years ago. Finding their technology would be the discovery of a lifetime. Prepare a landing team, Blackwell decided. Standard exploration protocols. As the team assembled in the shuttle bay, Lisa Winters checked her equipment one final time. After redesigning the Phantom drive to be safer and more efficient, she had requested field assignment, eager to see firsthand the wonders her technology helped discover. Nervous? Asked Security Chief Ryan Kelly, noticing her careful preparations. Winters smiled. Excited. If this is progenitor tech, it could change everything we understand about physics. The shuttle descended through swirling clouds to a landscape of purple vegetation and towering crystal formations. At the center of a vast clearing stood a structure unlike anything they had seen before, a perfect hemisphere of what appeared to be solid light, pulsing gently with inner energy. Readings are off the charts, Rogers reported as they approached cautiously. It's definitely artificial and incredibly old. Winters moved forward with her scanner. The energy pattern is similar to our Phantom drive, but far more refined. It's like comparing a candle to the sun. Suddenly, the hemisphere's surface rippled. A section became transparent, revealing an entrance. It's responding to our presence, Zarvek observed, or perhaps to our technology. Blackwell faced a captain's most difficult decision: safety versus discovery. Rogers, Winters, Kelly, you're with me. The rest maintain position and keep communication open. Inside, the structure revealed itself as a vast repository of knowledge. Holographic displays activated as they walked, showing star charts, mathematical equations, and biological diagrams beyond current understanding. It's a library, Winters whispered in awe. Or a school. At the center of the chamber, a pedestal rose from the floor. On it rested a small crystalline object that glowed with inner light. Captain, Rogers said, her scanner trembling in her hand. That object contains more energy than our entire ship, and it's communicating with our systems. Before anyone could respond, the crystal projected a massive holographic image, a star map of the entire galaxy with thousands of points highlighted. Each point pulsed with the same energy signature as the hemisphere. There are more of these, Blackwell realized. Thousands more. Zarvek stepped forward, his species' natural understanding of patterns helping him grasp the significance. It's a network. The progenitors built a network of knowledge repositories throughout the galaxy. The implications were staggering. A technological legacy left by an advanced civilization, now discovered by the youngest spacefaring species and their allies. As the team began documenting their historic find, a new chapter in galactic history opened. The discovery would unite species who had once been suspicious of each other in a common quest for knowledge. And at the heart of it stood humans, newcomers who had first appeared as warriors in an unknown warship, now leading the way as explorers. The progenitor network would take decades to fully explore, but the journey had begun. And with it, the promise of evolution for all sentient beings who reached for the stars.